Welcome to the Business After Hours, where the ties loosen, the suit relax, and we talk business without the boardroom. Grab your favorite drink, kick back, and let's dive into the world of business after hours.
Well, welcome back to another episode of the Business After Hours podcast. We're joined with Jared and Stacey. How are you guys doing today?
Wonderful.
Doing well, thank you.
Good. It's Wednesday, so it's hump day. Everybody's week going good so far?
Yes, so far.
We're surviving.
Yeah, we're surviving. So
Seems to be continuous survival mode here anymore these days. So, Stacey, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I'm a speaker, an author. I coach, and I'm a podcaster. And I've turned podcasting into like almost a full-time business now. So I'm focusing a lot on my podcasting business.
Congrats on that.
Thank you.
And what's your business besides the podcast?
So I have a little story that goes with it. I don't know if you want me to share it.
Yeah, absolutely. Please do.
Yeah. So, when I was 5, I had like an ear infection and a virus, and mom took me to the doctor and they gave me some meds. And then one night she heard a gurgling sound from, the other room. She came in, I was turning blue and I was in a grand mal seizure. They had rushed me to the hospital and they found that the virus had turned into encephalitis and it had traveled to my brain. I was induced in a coma. And during that time, the doctors told my parents, most likely if she comes out, she'll probably be paraplegic or she'll probably have severe brain damage. So my father, who's from a Greek island, and, he was one church, one doctor, one everything. And there was a statue and was known to have teardrops fall from its eyes. And he was praying that it would be okay. And he told me that when he looked up, a teardrop rolled from my eye. And I woke up and I opened my eyes and I asked for McDonald's French fries. And so I wasn't paraplegic and I didn't have brain damage, but I did end up with epilepsy. To this day, they can't find the scar tissue, but it was a roller coaster ride growing up. College was really difficult because the late night studying, the stress of getting good grades caused my seizures to go through the roof. It was really a battle,
So the important question, though, is did you get the fries?
I did get the fries.
Yes.
It's important. Definitely important.
I was dying to know. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, it's okay. That got me the whole Happy Meal that day.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So I was I really struggled, and so one day I didn't know if I was going to even be able to finish college. So I decided to write a letter. They had a magazine back then sponsored by the Epilepsy Foundation, and I asked them to publish my article, and I asked people, how do you cope with epilepsy? And to my surprise, I received like 300 to 400 letters from all over the United States and Canada. And they were very inspiring. People shared their stories, their advice. And I took a lot of that stuff and it inspired me. And I created my own regimen on how to get through, college. And I got through college. I graduated. I ended up getting a huge corporate job in the city. And I was kind of living the dream life. And then one day, I felt a seizure coming on. I fell to the ground. I was looking around to see if there was somewhere I could hide, because I would always get a feeling before I had a seizure. So I always knew I was going to have one, but there was nowhere to go that no one would see me. So I fell to the ground. I was conscious, but I couldn't move. And one of the executives just stepped over me and kept walking, and I couldn't believe it. And shortly after, the co-producer came over and said, Stace, you're doing a fabulous job, but, we're going to have to let you go. I'm sorry. And I just walked out of there with my head up high. And I said, one day I am going to be a success. I didn't know where I was headed. I didn't know where I was going, but I was going to make sure whatever I did in life, I was going to be good at it. And I was going to be able to be proud of myself. And so I ended up, starting my own freelance business. I started meeting a lot of people. A lot of the people that are billionaires today were just starting out back then. And I was doing their presentations, their speech writing and all that other stuff. And then one day I met an herbalist, and he said, I need a lot of research and writing done. And, so I started doing all this research and writing and holistic living. and I learned a lot of stuff. I said, wow, a lot of this stuff could apply to me. And I started applying it to my life. And my seizures went from like 12 to 9 to 8, 7, 6, 5 to the point where they became controlled. And I started writing about it. I don't know if you remember Blogger back in the day on Google. They gave us that free little blog. So I started writing and creating my own little blog, and like 400 people came right away. I was like, wow, people are interested in this stuff. And so then I decided to, create my own little website. And then I met a website designer, and he needed content for his websites that he designed. And then he saw my little blog, and he's like, I can make you a nice website. And then that little website turned into 10,000, then 100,000. And then the site just kept growing. And I took all those stories that I told you about, and I created a book, and I created that regiment that I told you about. And I put all those letters of inspiration in the book. And that book became a bestseller because there was no books at that time to teach people how to live with epilepsy. So the coping part, people when they have something, they want to learn how to cope with it mentally, physically, they need to know how to cope. And that's what we lack in society. We diagnose, but we don't teach people how to cope. So, and then I spent about 5 or 6 years, and I wrote the Complete Herbal Guide. That became a bestseller. That was about all the holistic stuff that I learned. And, back then, holistic living was just kind of making its way into society, and, I got a letter one day in my email box, and someone said, I found your book in Barnes and Nobles. I was on the verge of suicide, and I read your book. I followed your regiment, and I just want to say thank you because you saved my life. And that's when the light bulb went off. That's when I realized where I was heading, my passion. And, I went on a crusade to help people learn how to improve their lives. And then it just led me to writing books, working with celebrities, doing lots of writing. And then I created the podcast on self-improvement, and that connects with everything. So, mental health, physical health, spiritual health, and business. Because when you can't focus and your mental health isn't good, it affects your business. It's all connected in one big circle. So that's what my podcasting is been, and it blew up. And within the first 3 months, after working so many years with so many different PR agents and other people, in 3 months we booked for a year, and now it's just we have like 1.3 million listeners. It's like growing like crazy. And now I'm helping people create and build their own website, their own podcast. I help them to create it, to produce it, to promote it for them. And that's where I'm at now. I didn't really think I was going to be in this podcasting business. I wasn't even going to do it. A friend of mine who interviews rock and rollers, he kept bugging me, Stace, you got to really, do it, because I had already been on the Dr. Oz show 5 or 6 times. I worked with Ariana Huffington. And I was like, podcasting, I don't know. It's a lot of work, and he kept nagging the hell out of me. So I finally did it. And because of him, I am where I am today.
That's awesome. Congrats, first of all. That's an awesome achievement.
Now, how many seizures are you having now? Awesome.
0.
That's great. That's great. That's great to hear.
And congrats on that as well. Is that due to the herbs?
I do a lot of holistic living. So I do integrative medicine. And so that's using the medications. I work with my doctors and I take medicine, but yet you can't just pop a pill. This is what so many people think. You can pop a pill and the problem's going to go away. But you really have to create a lifestyle that is going to help you with your condition or what you're going through. So, I changed my whole lifestyle. I changed the way I thought. I changed the way I handle stress. I changed my sleeping habits. I changed everything. It was, the way I ate. I changed every little thing about my lifestyle. So when I changed my entire lifestyle and I was taking my meds and doing everything I knew would help me, that's when my seizures became controlled.
So now a lot of people, obviously, when they hear holistic, they don't think of modern medicine, obviously, today. But it sounds like, and maybe I'm not understanding correctly, but it sounds like you also take modern, medicine, from doctors and whatnot.
Yeah, definitely. Integrative medicine is when if you have a problem and you start using natural remedies and the problem isn't going away or it's getting worse, you need to go for medical help. You need to see a doctor. You can't I've known people that have tried to, fix breast cancer on their own holistically, and they're not here, sadly, anymore. There is a time when you have to realize that I can't do it by myself. I need help. And that's what, modern medicine is here for, So you have to find that right doctor, that doctor you could talk to, that doctor you could be honest with. Communication is key. That doctor that knows his stuff, because there are a lot of doctors that aren't the greatest out there. But when you find that right doctor that knows his stuff, even if he's a little cocky, if he knows his stuff or she knows her stuff, and you could communicate well with them and have a good relationship with them, then that is the number one thing you should do. And by working with my doctor, and he saw how I was changing by incorporating holistic living into my life, he's like, go for it, Stacey, do it. And he even wrote a book about it himself because he was for it. There's nothing wrong with using holistic living, taking holistic living and natural remedies and incorporating if it's going to help you, because you have to be careful, because some medications can, decrease the potency of medications. And so if you have something like heart problems or epilepsy or, depression and things like that, you got to talk to your doctor, because some of those supplements can really interact, negatively, so it's a thing of communication and being open.
Right. Did you help your doctor write his book?
What?
Did you help your doctor write the book?
No, my doctor actually helped me get some of my books published.
Wow, look at that. Okay.
I was one of the first people that wasn't a doctor to get published in a traditional publishing company that was only for medical doctors. And he had written a letter, and he had endorsed me, and they published my book. And I wrote it with I had a other doctor co-author it and go through it and make sure everything was correct. And I got my book for epilepsy and pregnancy written in a medical publishing company.
Wow,
yeah,
that's awesome. Congrats on that.
So what are some of the other holistic things that you're incorporating in your daily life?
So, I like to detox. I like to cleanse my body. I do, I use different, but, we don't realize, but as we get older, we become deficient in a lot of things. I say blood work is great. I like a functional medicine doctor, and they do blood work on everything. So they know exactly what you're deficient in, exactly what you need. And you could work with a functional medicine doctor and get the right, find out what the right vitamins and what the right supplements that you need in your body and how much you should actually be taking. Because some people try to be their own doctor, and unless you're getting extensive blood work and you're understanding where your body's at, because, the older we get, the more our body changes, you really need to look at it from a more responsible and scientific way, too. And I changed the way I ate. I started looking at ingredients. There's so many things out there. I can go on about the food industry forever. We have, diabetes has tripled. Things have changed in our society so bad. The way the food they put out there, everything is processed nowadays. We really have to look at trying to spend some time just to eat a little healthier. There are things that you should buy organic, and there are things you can get away with that you don't need to buy organic. But when you look at what's in, you're buying something off the shelf and you're looking at the ingredients, look what they put in there, and read the outside of it carefully. Like when it says no added hormones, well, that means it has hormones in it. They just didn't add any extra ones to it, but when you read it real quick, it sounds like there's no hormones in it,
Right.
like you have like 8-year-old little girls, going through their menstruation cycle because of the hormones in the milk and, the eggs and, they put, in the hormones they put in the chicken. Because if you read the book, there's a book, Vegetarian or Vegan, it's called. And she shows you what they do in these farms to the chickens and the cows. And there's like 100 cows in this one clustered small area. They're so smushed together that the hoofs are deformed and then one gets sick and they have to put antibiotics in all those cows, let's say. And then, so we're getting those antibiotics, and they're shooting them up with hormones so they can produce more milk. Well, who's getting those hormones? We're getting those hormones. You give those hormones to, kids, and you give those hormones to adults. our whole body functions with hormones. So you're throwing off the chemistry of people's bodies. All these, foods, they have dyes in them, a lot of them, most of them, and, cheese is supposed to be white, yellow American cheese is supposed to be white. They put that color in to make it look pretty. Punch, they put red. Well, those dyes cause cancer, and after drinking it for so many years, you're putting it out there, and the possibilities get higher. So, we got to really, and if you buy vitamins in your body, you're looking on the other side, if you can't pronounce the word, then it's not a good vitamin, when it has on the bottom all the other stuff it has, if you're not able to pronounce the word, then I say put that vitamin or supplement back on the shelf.
Great. Yeah, isn't it hard to because I don't know if you're vegan or vegetarian, but it just seems like
I eat meat. I eat fish and chicken and stuff like that. But I'm just using that as an example to show you what they do to that's she wrote the book because she was, I don't know if she was, I can't remember, it was a while ago, vegan or vegetarian. She was given the examples of both, but she talked about it. And when you saw what they did to the animals, you were like, you wanted to become a vegan or a vegetarian after you read that book.
Right. Well, it's crazy because I mean, even when you go on the vegetarian side or the vegan side of things, it's still hard to eat decent there too because of all the crap they put on our veggies. I mean, so you can't go either direction anymore these days, and you're just stuck. And it sucks because my own personal belief is that a lot of the mental illnesses here in America are because of our foods.
Oh, 100%. They talked about like ADHD and a lot of different, things that people have that could be related to food related. All those chemicals that they're putting in there definitely trigger, the brain. And there are some foods that some food industries will put certain chemicals because they want you to get addicted to it. So they will put certain ingredients in the food because they want you to keep buying it and they want you to have more of it. So you get these cravings. Those cravings are from certain ingredients that they put in the food.
That's why McDonald's puts sugar in their salt.
They put everything in their food.
Yeah. So tell us about, obviously you've gone through successfully, I want to say, so far at least, of your medical issues. So congrats on that. I mean, that's got to be a huge feat in of itself. And then obviously starting businesses without of that and podcasts and whatnot. What's your journey been like, battling your health and starting businesses?
Yeah, it wasn't easy, like when I do public speaking. So when I was doing nationwide speaking, I had some issues I was dealing with and, it's hard, sometimes, life isn't perfect. We all go through our ups and downs. And, when things arise, it's very challenging. And that's where you have to, take a step back. That's where I wrote, empower yourself. Don't let your conditions empower you. And I meant that for everything, including stress, because, a lot of times people, when obstacles arise, people just get so depressed that they just stop, and that's where the depression comes in. They get angry, they get frustrated. Why me? Why me? Why is things always happening to me? And, and then, if you're constantly having these things happen to you, or you have a condition, or you're battling with stuff all the time, you get to the point where you start to feel depressed, and it's like, why am I even here? And that's a common thing for people, and that's scary because depression can lead to suicide. People who even suffer from pain, they have a very high community of suicide rate. Because think about it, when you wake up in the morning and you're feeling pain every single morning, and you're having a hard time getting out of bed or going up and down the stairs, you're like, what's my purpose, man? And you have to just stop and think. And you know what? I put the mentality and the mindset in my brain that everything happens for a reason. If I was working in the city and I had that big corporate job and I was going in the direction I was going in, I would probably have a different personality. I would be, more into all right, let's buy a Louis Vuitton bag. All right, let's have a martini on a Friday night. I would look at people differently. You know what I mean? People in that business were very like backstabbing and be very egocentric, and instead I went down this road. And when I look at people and by doing so much advocating and helping others, I have a different look when I talk to people. I have empathy. I have, I have a feeling of wanting to give kindness, gratitude, all these things that are inside of me. I shine through, and I try. And positivity is key, man. It's key for survival. And I don't think I would be down that road, the road I'm on today, if all these things didn't happen to me. And it gets rough, like life isn't easy. Things come back, symptoms come back, problems come back, pain, you get pain as you get older, everything hurts when you get older, and, you have to deal with it, and it's like, it's hard, but you gotta try to look at the positive. I take everything that's negative and I try to pull something positive out of it. And, I feel like everything I've gone through in life has made me a stronger and better person. But there are times when I just look up in the sky and say, all right, God, you have told me I'm good wherever I'm going next. No worries. I will be the best camp manager. I'll be the best lieutenant you ever had. It's like, all right, stop. I'm good.
Right.
I got it.
No, I definitely agree. Yeah. So I was in the military. I suffered injuries, and then PTSD. So I've definitely tried to look at everything positive and more on a positive light, because I was seeing myself kind of go into that negative, light sometimes, and I didn't like that where I was headed myself, and so I can definitely relate on that and agree with you on that. That when you start seeing everything in a negative, just you start going down like a sinkhole, and I don't understand how you can live like that. You know what I mean? And it's a miserable place to be.
Yeah. I wrote for a veterans magazine, and I was stunned because I got to commend you for everything you do, and everything you did, for our country. I really commend you. I would interview people who came back from their tours, and some of them, lost their legs. They lost, had prosthetics, and they all suffered from post-traumatic stress disorder. They're like, when you're on the front line and you're in a tank and you see dead bodies on the floor and they're driving straight across, that's something that stays with you the rest of your life.
Absolutely.
And I, almost every single person that comes back has some form of post-traumatic stress disorder. But, how much is the country doing for these people? Because, these people, and a lot too, is the transition. You go back from military to regular life. It's two different worlds. People don't realize that. You're trained to be a military officer, and then you come back and you have all these skills, but the transition is very difficult.
Yeah, the transition was hard. Absolutely. I struggled for what, a year, Jeff, right? I mean, it was a real hard transition out of the military. And until I started trying to do something on my own is when I kind of really started turning myself around. But absolutely.
Yeah, I really feel that they need to put out more help for our military officers. They really need to really realize what they do, then the after effects, what they go through, and have more services for these people. And the people who can't work, that are on disability and they no longer are able to do the things they did, they have to be able to give them more than what they're giving them, and that's just my opinion. But from what I've seen from all the people I've known in the military that have come back, I really feel like we there's a great amount of respect for our military officers, but there's a great amount of respect. Let's do something for them. What can we do to make their lives better?
Absolutely.
So I do want to plug in your podcast as well. So tell us about your podcast.
So my podcast is based on self-improvement. So basically, like I told you, it we started out with, thinking, okay, we're going to do a niche, but then, we realized that everything is intertwined. Like I was telling you earlier, we were focusing on mental health. We're focusing on physical health, because when your mental health isn't right, people don't realize 70% of illnesses are caused by stress. So when you think about that, you're just like, you really have to have a good mindset, and people go through in life. Everyone has stress. Everyone goes through things. And we have a lot of people in this society that suffer from mental illness. We have to show respect for them. They should not feel like they're stigmatized or labelized, because a lot of them keep quiet because of the stigmatism out there. There's nothing wrong with having a mental illness. So I have people come on and talk about these mental illnesses and talk about about, some of them are people who've gone through it, and now they have great tools and techniques. I have doctors that come on, I have coaches that come on, and they share how to cope with mental illness. We talk about mindset, we talk about all these other strategies and books that they've written that help people step by step on how to get through it. And then physical health, we have a lot of people with fitness, and we live in a society that a lot of people are obese, and it's affecting, we also have this stigmatism that we give out, big is beautiful. Well, what is it doing to your body? Let's think about that. I'm not looking at someone from the outside. I'm thinking about the health in the inside. So, a lot of these people, as they get obese, they can't walk well, their ankles and the feet start hurting. Diabetes, diabetes kills your whole body from top to bottom. It eats away. You got heart problems, stroke. I knew someone just recently just had a heart attack. I knew someone that every day brought a big gulp to their job. And even when they were starting to get little signs, I'm like, trying to say in a nice way, maybe you should think about changing up your diet. Didn't listen. So she got one stroke, one minor stroke, then she got another stroke, and then she got another stroke. Now half her body's paralyzed. So you know what, you got to think about what how we eat and how, the things we do, how it's affecting our bodies. So I have people related to the health industry come on, talk about, I had a doctor from Harvard, he came on, he talked about diabetes, and he talked about just a couple of steps you could do to get your diabetes back to normal, so those are the type of things. I have people who are spiritualists that come on. They talk about mindset. They talk about, different spiritual things. Some people are religious. Some people are just very spiritual, and they go into the, looking inside yourself and how to make yourself a better person. And then we have business too.
So how can you, or even can you help somebody that doesn't even want to be helped? And I ask this just because we kind of smiled when you talked about that, because we have a father that has pretty much every condition that you named, and he really doesn't really want to help himself in a sense, and we try to talk to him about it, but it's on deaf ear, and so I'm just curious on your thoughts on how do you help somebody that really isn't wanting help.
I had a couple of close friends. I had one specific close friend that I knew I could see the beauty in her, and she just needed a little help, and what I've learned in life and what I've learned in helping people is that we can bring a horse to water, but we can't make it drink it. And unfortunately, if the person doesn't want to be helped, they're not gonna help themselves. It's just like, an addict. He has to fall rock bottom. He has to hit rock bottom, and he has to want to get up. There are addicts that hit rock bottom, and sometimes they don't get up, but it's their choice. Unless they are willing to change, that we can't, unfortunately, it's really sad because we love these people. We care about these people. We know that they could get better, but if they're not willing to get better, there is nothing, unfortunately, that we can do. We could put everything in front of them. We can show them how, it's done. But if a person doesn't want to do it, they're just not going to do it, And then giving advice too, I've learned, if someone doesn't ask for advice, unfortunately, giving advice just pushes that person away, and because they just don't want to hear what you have to say. And every time they see you, they know they're going to be lectured. And it's the way we say things too. We can't lecture people. We have to be able to talk to people in a way where it doesn't seem like they're being lectured. They have to be the ones to express how they feel on the inside. You have to let them do the talking and let them dig inside themselves. But the question is, are they willing to dig inside themselves, and they willing to find the problem themselves, and are they willing to fix the problem? Because it's all about them. We can't do anything, but they can do a lot. It's the choice of them going inside themselves, figuring out what the problem is, what's the root cause, and then making changes to better themselves and to put themselves on the right track so they can get better, but until then, unfortunately, we're powerless. And that's a hard thing, man. It's a hard thing to see someone you love just, doing the wrong things and going downhill. But unfortunately, if they're not willing, we can't force them.
It's true.
Yeah.
So obviously we deal with, or well, a lot of our target audiences is businesses, business owners and whatnot. What kind of
Yeah.
advice can you give to them? Because obviously owning a business, as you know, is very stressful. And you had
Yeah.
mentioned stress and how it is related to 70% of illnesses and whatnot. What advice can you give to business owners, obviously, especially in this climate that we're in right now?
Yeah, we have a lot of people also to come on our site that are entrepreneurs, that are people who have made it big, and they have really great advice also. But to get back to your question, people in our society are impatient. Unfortunately, when COVID came, it changed everybody's lives. Everything changed. The way we market, the way we buy, everything we do is done differently. AI came into the picture. Everything has changed, and so we have to, when you're creating a business, it depends where you are in the business, but when you're in a business, you have to be patient. People want things done 1, 2, 3, and it doesn't happen like that. It's first you have to build a platform. Then you have to really build a trajectory and really see, what are my goals? What do I want to do? Where do I want to be in the next 3 months? Where do I want to be in the next 6 months? Where do I want to be in the next 9 months? And think about, what industry am I in? And, because sometimes people are all over the board. They're not really sure. They're focusing on 10, 12 different things. And you really should try to build a tree. And then eventually you could branch off, to related things. But until that tree starts growing, you really should focus on one specific area and build that area. And you have to realize, you have to look at your audience too, and if you don't have the right audience, you're not going to be making sales. I can't tell you how many people, why am I not selling anything? Well, analyze your audience. What do these people like? You might have the wrong audience and you might have to work on finding that right audience. That's a big problem, and then also people, they create these great businesses, but then they don't market properly. There are tons of lead magnets out there. There's tons of things you could do. You have to go out there and approach these people. A lot of people think people are going to come to them. It doesn't work like that.
Right.
It's you have to really, if you have a product or a service and you have a great idea and you have everything is set up, the way it should be, then you have to really get out there and put yourself out there. Connections are key. You have to let people know, hey, I got this product or service and I think it could be great for you. I think it could help you do X, Y, and Z and blah, 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 blah. And you can't be shy about, approaching people and asking people to look at your product and look at your service. And you can't be shy about, there are also people that are shy about asking money. If you have a great product and you spend all these hours creating this product or service, or you're putting all these hours into this service that you're providing for a consumer, some people are shy and they don't know how to properly scale their product, so they're underscaling themselves because they're feeling of self-worth. You have to so many people don't realize that they're worth a lot more than they give themselves credit. So if you're spending 12 hours, on this one client, you're not going to charge them $35. There are people out there that, create these great products and services, but they underscale themselves. You have to go out there, look what your competitors are doing. How much are they selling it for? What can you do and what's feasible for you that you could actually make a profit? And maybe you could say, okay, I could do it for this, we're charging less, but, or we're charging this amount, but you're getting X plus bonus X, Y, and Z. You have to look at strategy. Strategy is key too. You have to look at the way you're presenting yourself, and you have to, and the way you present yourself is really important too, because people go out there, they have the trust factor is so important. You have to believe in yourself. You believe in yourself and you believe, and that you could help a person and you're sincere about it, that person will pick it up, But if you go out there and, there are so many con artists out there and there are so many people out there that just don't know how to present themselves too. You go out there and say, I have this great product and, really can help you. And I really want you to try it. The guy's going to look at you or the girl's going to look at you and like, huh,
Right.
or if they look like a scammer, they act like a scammer, they're not looking you in the eye, you got to be careful. And then the sad thing is that people have been burned so much. People are afraid when they finally meet that great person and that sincere person that can really help them and they want to help them, sometimes they're hesitant, because they've been burned in the past by other people. You got to gain trust. You got to learn how to communicate with that person. You have to learn how to really bond with that person and show that person what you're about. And you have to learn how to communicate well with people too.
Yeah, I think business is all about building relationships. I think unfortunately there's a lot of scams out there, and so building that relationship is key.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and I would say, if you're doing something, instead of giving 100%, give 300%. Show that person that you want to help them. Show that person that you're willing to go the extra length for them, because it's not just about selling one product. You want to keep them as a client, an ongoing client. You want to keep them with you for a while. You don't want to keep hunting for new clients. You want to develop relationships with clients that you could have reoccurring business with, and that's key too.
Absolutely. I think the statistic says it costs more to get a new client than retain your current client. So yeah, and I think that's absolutely important.
Which is weird that some businesses treat current clients like crap, but give better deals to new clients. It's
exactly
strange. It's a strange concept to me. But what are some practical ways that a business owner can do outside of obviously their own company to help try to reduce some of that stress?
You mean with other clients, with people that they meet on the outside?
No, just like help reduce their own stress level from their own personal side.
Like for me, I offer coaching. Like I'll offer them, like if they buy a certain package, I'll offer free coaching and I'll give them free coaching for X amount of time. Then I'll go into their stuff and I'll analyze their stuff. I'll look at what they're doing and what they're not doing. And then I'll give them some great ideas. I'm like, oh, wow, I didn't think about that. And you see them grab a notebook and they start writing down stuff. And I'm like, in order to build your business, you have to start doing this and you have to start doing this and you should be doing this. And, I looked at your website. It's a great website, but, I think if you do X, Y, and Z, you'll get their attention better, because most people, when they go on a website, they only look at the first quarter, unless something really grasps their attention, and they'll hit the button and maybe go to the second page. Right. But most people go to the first quarter of the website, and if they like it, they stay. If they don't, they pop out, so you really have to learn how to make things easy for people too. Like I go on websites and the person is amazing. The person has a great idea, great product, great service, but you go on their website and it looks like they just wrote a documentary, and it's like, whoa, like people today attention, you need to say a couple of words, show a couple of pictures and get to the point, and always have a call to action, and, people have to learn how to make things easier, because we are now, we used to be at an 8th grade level, when it came to reading and writing, where we just popped down to a 6th grade level in the United States. So most people read on a 6th grade level. So when you think about that, it doesn't matter how smart you are or how well you write. Think about the level of society, and what they're going to comprehend, and gear it to that, and be able to, and then when you speak to people, you just communicate on their level. Once you get to know the person, then you can, you connect and you can speak on their level. But when you're presenting and you're showing and you're helping people, you have to just like look at their stuff and not criticize them, but give them ideas, and it's all the way you word things too. You have to really know how to talk to people. There's all different types of people. Like they say, the type A, the type B, you have to learn how to, deal with each personality, because each personality is going to react differently.
Sure. What advice would you give to business owners on if they're reluctant on hiring a coach like yourself?
I think, honestly, everyone should have a coach. Like I'll give you an example. When I got to a point in my life where I kept building my business and I felt like I was stuck. I wasn't growing the way I wanted to grow. And so I went out and I found this guy was doing a podcast, and he had graduated from a speaking school that I had graduated from, because I wanted to tweet, even though I spoke in front of Congress and I spoke, did speaking, I wanted to really improve my speaking skills. I wanted to make them better. He graduated from the same school with the same idea, but he went into the coaching industry instead of going into the speaking industry. And he coached, Fortune 500 companies. But there was something about him that I just liked. There's something kept saying, call him Stacey, call him Stacey. So I said, you know what? Screw it. I looked up his number. I called him. I said, you don't know me, but I just saw your podcast and there's something about you I really like. And I think you can help me. Maybe you could just, gear me on the right track, and we ended up talking for over an hour and he ended up being my coach. And within 4 months, he had 10x me, from where I was at, It's really important to have a coach because a coach sees out of the box. We only see, we see things or we do things a specific way and we get used to those things. But society is changing. We have to constantly change. We have to constantly understand our consumers. We have to kind of grow, okay, we're doing X, Y, and Z now. What else could we offer our consumers? How can we make their life easier? How can we make their life better? We have to keep changing things up. And even in marketing, I know people that have businesses, they're marketing like they're still in the 90s. That doesn't work anymore. It's great to have a coach because my coach will, he's still my coach and, he will stop me if I'm doing something wrong. He will, every day he checks in on me. He's like, all right, what are you doing today? And I'll tell him my goals for the day and I'll tell him what I'm doing. And if he doesn't like it, he's like, I don't think you should do that. I think you should really consider doing this. He won't tell me what to do, but he'll consider, he'll kind of gear me in that direction. And, all those years of that direction has made me grow substantially, so I think everybody should have a coach. And I think sometimes it's good to have more than one coach, depending on the areas that you need. Coaches are key. I really think they are. They really help you and they really make you see things in a different light.
What? How often do you think a business owner should evaluate their business and look at changing, up what they're doing?
I think every month you should look at what you're doing and then look at what you did previously and then think about, okay, am I making the same amount of money that I made last month? Am I making less? Why am I not growing? What can I do to grow? And then focus on creating a plan. And all right, because you want to keep growing and growing and growing. You don't want to stay plateaued. So you really have to always evaluate. I evaluate, okay, I made this much money this week. I made this much money that week. But yet, I went on vacation or I wasn't able to work this day because of X, Y, and Z. So you have to really understand, exactly what's going on 24/7. But at the end of the month, you should always look at how much you made that month, how much you made previously, and what are your goals for next month. And if you're doing the same thing, you can do the same thing and see. And if you're still making the same amount of money, all right, I need to change it up because I want to really grow. So what can I do to grow? What can I do to help myself? And then you think of ways and you work, for me, I work with a coach. All right, what can we do to help myself grow? And then we look at all my strengths and we look at my consumers and we look at what my consumers' needs are because they talk to you. After a while of working with clients, you should be able to have a conversation. They're not your friends, but you should be able to have an intimate conversation that you know them well enough that you know what their needs are, and then focus on what the majority of your clients need. And if you don't have that provided, create it. And have, we all need help. I have a team now of people who work with me. I could not be where I am if I didn't have a team, but it took a while until I worked with him and I was able to 10X. I had, some people helping me, but I wasn't able to afford to have as many people as I have today. So it's a process, and it's really, you have to be organized and well tasked. And if you're not, go get yourself a management coach and let them teach you how to prioritize and how to manage things so you can become like that. Because a successful business is very organized and task oriented.
Now, do you think also with having a conversation with your coach, also having a conversation with, say, your bookkeeper or your accountant to understand like where the money is going or what your money is doing? I think sometimes a lot of people fail to really understand what their money is really doing.
Oh, 100%. And some people don't realize what they're spending it on. Things you could spend things and you can spend X amount of money each month. You're not realizing, oh my gosh, that at the end of the year, that's causing me X, Y, and Z. It's causing me this amount of money. And I don't even really need that. I just wasted $1,200 this year. You should have a bookkeeper. You should have someone that you talk to and helps you handle your books. It's important. It's very important to have, someone in the financial area to take care of your books and to help you, because you can't do everything. It's just impossible. If you're going to have a successful business, you cannot do everything. It's just, you got 24 hours in a day. And that's what their job is. They're a numbers person. I am not a numbers person. I never liked numbers. I tried it in college. I stood in accounting for a little bit and then I was out. I said, all right, this is not for me. I'm switching majors. I was just, some people, you're very good with it. You find a good bookkeeper that really handles everything. It lets you know what's going on. And then, from there, okay, I don't need this, but I could use this and I'm making extra money. So now I could afford doing this, and that's going to make my life easier and I can grow because of it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think having somebody that's good with numbers is absolutely important.
Yeah.
We're both numbers people, so we agree.
Yeah, I love numbers.
Yeah.
Most guys do. I noticed that a lot of guys are.
Yeah, I don't know why. I just always have and always will, I guess. So, so obviously, when we're on the topic of coaching, no two coaches are alike, just like no client is alike.
Right.
What kind of questions would you recommend if somebody's searching for a coach to make sure that they're getting the right coach? Because obviously, if you hire the wrong coach, they're going to take you in a different direction than hiring the correct coach. So what kind of questions should people be asking when they go to get a coach?
I think you need to really talk with the person, see if your personalities click first of all.
Okay.
Then look at start to ask the person, what's your vision? What are you looking to achieve? What are the challenges that are, holding you back from achieving what you want to achieve? And then, I have questions actually that I ask my clients, and so I ask them, so tell me a little about your vision, tell me, what you want to achieve. What do you want to achieve in your personal life? What do you want to achieve in your work life? Because the real goal is to have a successful business where you work less and make more. So what are your goals? Do you want to spend more time with your kids and be able to have a business where money is coming in and you don't have to constantly be there and constantly work like a dog? Where do you see yourself like in the next couple of months? Where do you see yourself, like I said, in 6 months, in 12 months, and get a feel for what that person really wants from their life, and then, and when you're talking to the person, you'll see if your personalities connect, because sometimes people's personalities don't connect, and they're just not the right person. And then as a coach, you want to be able to have a person that is willing to make the effort, because you could give the greatest advice, but if they're not going to follow what you're giving them, they're not going to be successful. So you have to make sure as a coach, on the coach's side, that this person is serious, and because your goal is to help this person,
Right.
And you really want a person that's going to be responsible. And when you say, call me at 9:45 and let's go over this, you want them to call you at 9:45 and you want to make sure. And that person has to be serious about wanting to achieve their goals, and they have to feel confident that that coach is going to give them what they need. And by speaking with that coach and you'll see if they're knowledgeable or not, just by the way they talk, by the way the questions they ask. And then, asking them, what would this mean to you if you were able to, be able to work less and make more and be able to, get rid of those challenges in your life and overcome those obstacles that are holding you back in your business. How much would that mean to you? And they're like, oh my God, that would mean everything to me. Well, you can see how motivated they are. They're ready to go. They're ready to rock,
Right.
And so that's the kind of clients you want. And you want to, and you want to have that rapport. You want to help them and they want to help themselves. And that's the key, is that those are the type of clients that, coaches want. And you as a person have to be serious about it, because if you're not serious about it, then you're just throwing away wasted money.
Sure. Well, Stacey, this time has come up quick. It's been fun talking to you, honestly. Like, you got a good perspective, and I like it. So I appreciate it.
Great.
Obviously, we live in a world where there's not a lot of positivity in life anymore, it seems like. Can you end us on something positive, that encouraging to our viewers?
Great.
Well, I believe that there is, in life, we make life. You have to really, like I said earlier, in life, positivity is key. You will not succeed if you don't look at the positive things in life and you're not positive. And I say, look at the people around you, first of all. Do you have negative people around you, or do you have positive people around you? And if you have negative people around you, well, they're just sucking the energy, all that good energy out of you. It's time to really evaluate the people around you. And you know what? If you have good friends, but they're negative, it doesn't mean that you have to alienate them, but keep your distance.
Okay.
Start bringing in those positive energies, those positive people, and you feed off of each other. And, when you look at life, there's good in everybody. There is positivity is key. And in your life, we all have, the magic key is faith, courage, wisdom, strength, and hope. And for everything that happens into your life, take a moment to look at, okay, this happened, but what positive thing happened from it? Did it make me stronger? Did it make me look at life in a different perspective? Do I have more empathy now? And, learn from it. Use it as an experience. Don't look at it. Don't be a pity party person where, oh, poor me. Take it, learn from it, grow, move on. And that's what it's all about. It's about living a happy, healthy, productive life. And the only way to live a happy, healthy, productive life is to be positive. In life, everyone goes through their ups and downs, but we have to rise above the chaos. We have to overcome, and we have to turn our dreams into a reality. And that's what life is about.
That's awesome. Love it.
Absolutely.
So I have two websites, Stacey Chillemi .com and then Coach Stacey Chillemi .com.
Yes.
Are those the two primary websites just to get in contact with you?
Yes, those are the two primary websites, and I'm all over the internet, and I'm on all the social media, so you can easily just type my name and find me everywhere.
Okay. Because what we're going to do is when the video comes up later today, and then we got it on all the podcast platforms as well, we're going to hyperlink your two links so that make it easy for everybody to click with you. And then just so that we can, further help advertise you. What's the name of your podcast?
The podcast is The Advisor with Stacey Chillemi.
Perfect. So go give her a subscribe over there too. I'm assuming you're on all podcast channels as well.
Yes, I'm on all of them.
I figured. So that way we can help support you as well. And we will go and subscribe as well. So Stacey, we wish you nothing but the best, and especially with your health journey as well. Yes. Hopefully that continues strong and you stay seizure free.
Thank you.
And if there's anything else we can do for you in the meantime, please let us know. We definitely would love to help you out.
Thank you for being on.
Oh, thank you for having me. You guys are wonderful. I really enjoyed this time with you guys.
Absolutely.
You're great.
All right. And you have a wonderful day now.
You too.
Welcome to the Business After Hours, where the ties loosen, the suit relax, and we talk business without the boardroom. Grab your favorite drink, kick back, and let's dive into the world of business